Eric Dieters, the Bulldog, with you on 700 WLW. Hamilton County. Are you happy that you're paying a little bit more in property tax? Do you even care? I'll be very candid with you. If you don't care, I won't care either. Nate on a cell phone. You're on 700 WLW.
Hey, Bulldog.
How you doing, Nate? Thank you.
Love the musical selections. Keep it up. I love the classic rock. Hey, I got a couple comments and a question for the chaplain. As far as the taxes go, I don't own any property, so it doesn't bother me, but I'd like to see a higher sales tax. And I don't know what Glenn was saying about Danny Bupp, but I had the pleasure of being at his daughter's wedding this past month, and he's a fine, upstanding citizen as far as I'm concerned, and just want to back him up. But to the chaplain, I'm curious, in light of the WikiLeaks, all this stuff coming out, and just other situations with the military, like the Pat Tillman situation, how do you or do you boost the morale of the troops? And I'll listen off the air. Thanks.
Thank you, Nate.
Yeah, that's a great question, Nate. Boosting the morale of the troops, as we say it in the Chaplain Corps, is that you are a visible reminder of the holy. In other words, when especially you got troops or airmen, sailors that Marines, that are poised for a real difficult mission. Our job as chaplain is to remind them that God has not forgotten. That you cannot do that, with any other career field. You think about that, and that's one of the main reasons that we have chaplains.
Randy, in your 5.5 years in the active Air Force chaplaincy, what is the morale at Barksdale Air Force Base, in Iraq, and in Okinawa? I mean, all in the different areas that you've been. What is the morale?
Here's what I've found. Morale can kind of wax and wane, like at bases or what they call in garrison, like a stateside base where you're doing your job. And so we help out there where we can, and we work to boost it. What I do know is in environments where you're in theater, that is where you have active conflict, Iraq and Afghanistan, morale's very high. Now you have to deal with some acute situations, and you have to intervene. When somebody gets hit with an IED, and there's injuries, even death. And so chaplains are there along with commanders, first sergeants, and other key people to, again, just wrap your arms around them and be a family to them.
Right.
That's really, really huge. But morale is high there because you know what you're there for.
Right.
When bombs are going off and you're seeing this happen, you know what you're there for.
What I've seen and heard from soldiers coming back and going back again and again and again, the morale does seem good for the armed forces.
Correct. And it's in the places that are they're part of the operation, but you're more like staging areas. In other words, some countries where you go and you stop off for a little while and you get prepared to go into the theater. Well, you got to have soldiers and airmen that are working there too. They're doing deployment hours. They're working 12, 14, 16-hour days, some of them, and but they're not right there in the fight. So keeping their morale up is a little tougher.
What about the stress on families and the fighting soldier? It seems to me, I just marvel at this. My brother went to Kuwait. He's a reserve Marine, Richard, and he served on the border of Kuwait in Iraq. He was gone 10 months. He's a lawyer, and he left his wife and kids to go over there. You served in Iraq for 4 months, and you've been away from your family because they came over from Okinawa before you did. Randy, I can't fathom I'm a homebody. I went to college and law school and never left Northern Kentucky. I don't like to travel. I just can't fathom how these soldiers, airmen, Marines, sailors, guardsmen, to be gone from their families in deployment situations. It's special people, both the soldier and their families.
It's tough, and that's why some marriages and some families don't hold together. Now, again, we are doing things. I know, like the Army, for example, has a great, what they call Family Life Center. I got a good buddy of mine that's going to be going to school there for 15 months, and that's a great assignment for him. So there's some training that's going on, and we are definitely dialed in and on top of this situation. But certainly, and here's what I tell the airmen that I've talked to and counseled. If your marriage is shaky before you go on a deployment,
it's not good.
It's not getting any better.
It's not going to get any better.
Go on that deployment.
Right.
So take the time, while you're there together, to shore things up, and we're here to help you do that.
Right. It's just. I just think the sacrifice, not only with the risk of life and limb, but family is just so difficult. And again, I know some people who they like it. In other words, it's almost like they get used to their spouse being gone all the time. They're not fooling around while they're gone. It's just they're just used to being alone, and it works. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. And then I've heard the horror stories, like at Navy bases like Norfolk, Virginia, where when the sailors deploy, the bars are full. I mean, I've heard some stories, but nice insight. 513-749-7000. 513-749-7000. 1-800, the big one. Pound 700 on AT&T. Len in Delhi. I'll see what you have to say about the tax rollback. And don't be afraid to call in and ask Randy McCafferty, who is a 5.5-year Air Force chaplain who just came back from Okinawa and has been in Iraq. Anything you want to ask him, we might as well take advantage of having this great American in the studio tonight, the Bulldog on 700 WLW.